welcome to another Wimbledon channel Fireside Chat, HSC edition. I'm basically making a couple of videos because it's chilly down here in my holidays, and I know that my students are at home preparing hard for their trials and their HSC, and I thought, you know what, let's sit by the fire and just give a couple of examples of how you can prepare for your trials and for your HSC exams. I want to talk briefly now about using the syllabus. This is actually something quite a few students don't really think about using when it comes to preparing for an exam. But it's a very helpful document. Starting with your topic, regardless of whether you're looking at modern history or legal studies or geography or ancient or whatever it is, usually you're going to have a page of information roughly. Now you should know your syllabus. If you're not 100%, if you couldn't sit down and say, I'm pretty sure I know what this page is, that's a great place to start. You really should know everything that's in your syllabus. Because often you'll get asked a question that will limit, you're only allowed to talk about this and this. And if you don't know your syllabus well enough, you might not realise that, for example, modern history, personality study, if you're asked to talk about the background and the rise to prominence of, say, Albert Speer, you will go background, rise to prominence, that's one of the dot points. There are 4 or 5 things underneath there that I should talk about. And often markers will say, you've been asked to talk about the background and the rise to prominence. Have you talked about A, B, C, and D? So first of all, know your syllabus. That's simply sitting there and making sure that you're learning those. Really, it's 4 pages, basically, depending on what your subject is. But how do you actually use your syllabus to study? Well, a helpful thing that you might want to try is sitting there and for each dot point, thinking through, if I get asked a question on this, would I be able to talk about it and give a specific example to support what I'm saying? So that's a helpful start, going through dot by dot and saying, okay, here it is. If I'm asked about this in an essay, or if I'm asked a 5 marker or a 10 marker about this, would I be able to talk about it to any specificity, and would I be able to support it with an example? If not, well, straight away there's something that you can go write down, look up this, look up that, look up this. So that's a helpful start. Another thing you can look at when you're looking at the syllabus is thinking through, how are these things related? Because often what you'll get is a question that's actually a theme. And quite often it's a theme that might hit multiple dot points. So if you're talking World War II, what are the turning points? And you might have to think through multiple battles. You might say, analyse which was the most important or most significant turning point. Or if it's legal studies, it might talk about fairness and equity. And you've got to think through and go, well, which dot points can I refer to? So actually sitting in there and analysing your syllabus dot points, thinking which ones can be connected, which themes fit which dot points, and how might I be able to break up the syllabus and think through it in a different way than now it's just sitting there on the page. Because at the end of the day, the better that you know this information, the more that you can play with it, the more that you can think about it in different ways, the better you're going to remember it. So maybe print out multiple copies. Maybe print out a dot point, 3 or 4 per page with a big gap in between, and cut them out. And you can play with each and say, yeah, there's a theme. I'll write that theme and take a photo of it with my phone, and here's another one, and I'll do the same thing. So there's many ways that you can use the syllabus. But at the end of the day, all the syllabus is, it's a list of the things that you've been looking at in class. So it's a really helpful way of ticking off, I know this well enough, I know this well enough, I know this well enough. And it's also a helpful way of getting a kind of an overview of usually a whole term's work. And thinking through, what are the themes that run through this? What are the similarities and the differences between the things that we've looked at? How might I bring them all together in an essay, or in a 10-mark question, or whatever it is for your syllabus or your question? So there's just a brief look at how you could use your syllabus to prepare and get ready for the trials and for the HSC itself.